What's going on, everybody? As we're sitting here and we're wondering, is there going to be another real estate bubble that's within the horizon? I mean, prices keeps going higher, there's multiple offers everywhere. You know, at some point there's got to be a bubble that's within the horizon, right? Let's find out if that's going to be real or not. So home prices have reached another all-time record high, and then yes, I know you're sitting here wondering like, yes, we heard that before. It was 700, then it went to 750, then it got to 800, and at the time of making this video right now, the median price point of King County is now close to $850,000. There's a lot of people that's thinking there's gotta be a real estate bubble that's coming, and you know what, I might as well wait, and then I'll get a really good bargain like 2008 and buy a house really cheap at a really good price. One of the reasons for this is the fact that millions of homeowners have filed for forbearance with their lender. This time last year, we saw the world come to a halt and everything stopped. Shutdowns were happening all over the place, unemployment went sky high, and millions of homeowners couldn't afford to make their monthly mortgage payment. So last year, the feds basically told banks that if homeowners couldn't afford to make their mortgage payment, the banks were not allowed to foreclose on their home. Also, banks had to give these homeowners an option for forbearance, right? Where lenders had to either pause or reduce the mortgage payment for a limited period of time. And that kept going and going, the extension, and even till today. There's been a lot of talk about this, and many think that because of the forbearance, it's going to create this real estate crash. Because if 2.3 million people are in forbearance, can't afford their house at the end of this term, well, these homeowners will have to put their home on the market, and with that, it will increase the amount of homes that are available, and with more homes and increase in supply, this will essentially drive down home prices nationwide. Well, as we're sitting here at the end of April, beginning of May 2021, it seems like the opposite has happened within the last 12 months. Home prices have gone up 10 to 12% nationwide. Here in our local areas, also double digit in appreciation, and with lots of buyers still out there looking for a home in this market where there's multiple offers and not that many homes available for home buyers to purchase. But wait, there's gotta be a housing crash that's coming in the horizon. I mean, if millions of people are in forbearance and they filed the forbearance and can't afford to pay, well, there's just no way these home prices could keep going up and the market could sustain this type of appreciation. Like many of you, I would love to buy my dream home on top of Somerset here in Bellevue area for a very low price and a bargain. But the reality is, it's most likely not going to happen, and this market correction or a huge crash is probably not coming in the horizon, and here's why. Factor number one is almost 50% of all those forbearance and all those that have filed for forbearance are now caught up with their payment. As indicated by Mortgage Bankers Association, at the time of making this video, 50% of all homes that were previously in forbearance have now left the program and are current on their mortgage payment. With that, 27% of those in forbearance have made their monthly payment during the forbearance period. 15% of those has bought their past due amount back to current and they're fine now. 8% of those actually just paid off their home completely. Factor number two, banks don't want the house back or for someone to foreclose on their house. Look, after 2008, most banks learned that they don't want to foreclose on a home. There's so much work with regards to taking the home back, and they just want to avoid this whole process altogether. Banks don't want to go through the whole legal battle from dealing with the eviction process, legal fees, cash for keys for tenants if the tenants are still living there in these houses, and they realize that there's a lot of work to be done after they take the home back. I mean, there's times that the homes have been just trash or just really in bad condition, where there's mold in the house, all the appliances are taken out, cabinets are just torn up, and pretty much there's houses that don't even have working water or toilets are missing. So they don't want to do that, and they don't want to deal with contractors that are finding the right contractors to do all these repair and then take all their time with the process, having it on the market, listing it on the market, then dealing with utilities and the holding costs throughout the whole process. it's just too much work. So they're trying to avoid that as much as possible. So banks don't want to deal with all the headaches that's going through the foreclosure process and taking back homes and then not getting money paid on their interest that they're trying to get. So they're coming up with different options for homeowners who are in forbearance, such as these. Option number 1 is a repayment plan. This option may be right for someone in forbearance where they owe $10,000 from all the back pays, but now they got their job back and do even better. So now they could even afford to pay more than their previous mortgage payment. So essentially, a portion of the amount you owe will be added to your monthly mortgage payment. So let's say your previous mortgage was $2,500. You now have a $10,000 loan that you owe from all the forbearance period. They'll essentially add $100 to the new payment, making it $2,600 until you pay off that whole $10,000 or 100 months later. Option number 2 is bank may offer a deferral or partial claim. So this option is right for someone who could now resume their payment again. However, they can't afford to increase their mortgage payment each month. So how does this option work? So with this option, the bank will either move your missed payment to the end of the loan or put them in a second loan, repayable only when you either sell your house, refinance, or just terminate your mortgage. So with a deferral program, what happens is if someone owes the bank within these last several months $10,000, essentially the bank can say, okay, we'll just tack on a second loan, and you know what, whatever you owe on the first loan, there's now a second loan for $10,000 which you owe us. And then down the road when you sell this house, you will essentially pay back the first loan and the second loan of whatever you owe, let's say that $10,000. Then it's done. Or you could refinance and add on whatever you owe now on the first loan and also the $10,000 and essentially create a new loan through the refinance. And that right there is another option. Option number 3 is the loan modification. So this option may be right for someone who is in a position where they could no longer afford to make the same mortgage payment as they did before. There are situations where homeowners' income got reduced or their financial situation has changed within the past year. Well, as we see things getting back to normal in our economy and way of life, there's still a lot of industries that are going through the recovery mode as we're talking right now, such as the travel, entertainment, or service industry. These industries are still trying to get their way back to normal, and it might take longer to go back to where they were before. With this option, your payment can be reduced to an affordable amount, and your missed payment essentially gets added to the principal and the amount that you owe. And it's possible that the monthly payment now will be lower so you could afford the mortgage simply by extending the term of the loan. For example, what if my mortgage payment was $2,500 a month, but now I'm only working part-time, so I can't really afford the $2,500 like before, and realistically, $2,000 a month is more reasonable at my given moment, right? So the bank may allow a homeowner to do a loan modification that allows them to make a payment for less than their previous mortgage payment, and then simply by changing the terms of the loan from maybe a 20 years what you owe left on the house to stretching it out to a 25-year so that the payment plan can work. Option number 4 is called a reinstatement, or aka a lump sum. So this option is right for someone who wants to pay all of it back, all of their missed payment, all the back end that's due, simply pay it all back at one time. There were a few people that got a lump sum of money from either their unemployment, back paid, their stimulus check, tax return, and maybe, who knows, some people want to take this lump sum and just simply pay back all their back dues and get it squared away with the bank. Or maybe they have a relative that's super generous that wants to help them just pay off all the back due and the back payments that they have with the bank. Whichever the case is, this could be an option for someone who wants to pay back all of it. However, keep in mind that realistically, with everything that's going on, banks and most loan servicers cannot require a borrower to pay back a lump sum in repayment right now. So as we talk about all these options that homeowners may have, well, you can see why those in forbearance may not need to sell their house. And then if they don't need to sell their house, there won't be a floodgate of inventory flushing to the market. And then with a lot of inventory driving down the home prices nationwide or all over the county, realistically, there's probably going to be homes that will do loan modification, they'll do a refinance, or they'll make payment plans to the bank just to make it work, and maybe we won't see a floodgate of inventory of homes coming on the market. So reality is the chance of a housing crash may be pretty slim from where we're seeing. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If there's other questions you may have in regards to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, or you just have any questions with regards to real estate, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help and connect with you and your family. Once again, thank you. Have a wonderful week. Wishing you, your family the best. Take care, everybody.